All right, what's up, YouTube?
What's up, YouTube?
What's up, trekyeah?
This is your two favoriteest members of trekyeah.
Cutting the fat this year.
Cutting the fat this year, and that's what's so beautiful about New Year resolutions and sticking to it, dude. You got to get out that negative energy.
Got to get out the fat.
Yeah.
Working out.
Eating good, drinking good.
Cutting bad habits.
Hell yeah.
It's February.
It is February.
If you're watching this, then you hopefully had a good Valentine's Day.
Hopefully, yeah. And if you're watching this, this is the first time you've ever seen my beard, and this is the first time I've ever seen it too. Well, respectively.
Okay.
But let's talk about your Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so how was your guys' Valentine's Days?
Oh, yeah.
We don't have girlfriends, so...
We don't have girlfriends.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
We're here to talk about trekyeah.
We're here
in our month.
We're here to talk about ourselves and what we do have.
So, yeah, we're in Colombia. We're in Medellin, Colombia.
And how we got here.
Go for it. Fire away, buddy.
You left first, though. We were in Iowa.
Well, sure, how we got here, but let's take a step back, right? The reason people always ask, why did we choose Colombia? And a big piece of that is because one of our childhood friends, Santi,
good guy.
He was born in Colombia. His parents immigrated to the U.S.
Good people.
It's like year 2003
good year.
Or 2002. Good year.
Good year.
But anyway, and so that's kind of what motivated us to come here, at least in part. So we're here in Medellin. Walker's in Bogota. Walker's going to be meeting us here in Medellin in about a week and a half. So we're really excited for us three to be together. Andy, however, I mean, you're going to hear from him in a bit. He's not going to be with us just yet. Maybe never. Who knows? Got to trim the fat. But
keep them out of arm's length. Is what we talk about.
Keep your friends closer, your enemies closer, dude. The last trekking you saw, we were at our annual meeting, right?
Yeah, it was a special time.
A special time, yeah. And then I did this thing where I had met this girl on an unnamed dating service app.
Shout out to it, though.
Shout out to it. I met her in Omaha when I was there for a farmers convention. I was there with my father and my brother, and I just was like, found a cheap flight kind of through there on the way to El Paso and then to LA. It's just kind of how I was going to get here. So I visited her in Omaha for a week. That was a lot of fun. Then I was in El Paso with my family for a Super Bowl party we have every year. I missed it last year, so this is like my mom's family, and it was just cool being in that area. I dodged the polar vortex. I don't know if you're listening to this and you're not from the States
or watching
this. True.
If you're not listening to the podcast.
Yeah, fair. The polar vortex was intense. I skimmed right out of that.
I didn't.
And he didn't. Well, tell us about your polar vortex experience.
So I was in the center of the eye of the storm.
The eye of the storm, dude. You've seen The Day After Tomorrow. Basically,
right, yeah, it's just like
thing.
that, but like imagine like a way better looking version of Jake Gyllenhaal. Here I am, right?
Sure.
And
sure. Who played? Wait. What's the? Never mind. Go ahead.
All right, that's cool.
I couldn't think of the father's name. I thought Tim Allen and Bill Paxton,
right,
but it's not either of those.
Damn, it's Harrison Ford.
No, it's not.
Okay, anyways. So I'm trying to fly to LA because I'm going to LA for a week before we come to Colombia. My flight's at 6 a.m., so I have to leave the house at like 4:30 a.m. So we have our van and our car in our driveway, and because we're planning to take the car to the airport. And we wake up in the morning, Mom makes me an egg, and we're saying bye, and then we go, and the car won't start because it's so cold. It's like negative 30 something at that point, and the car's like frozen solid overnight. But the van starts, so here we are. My mom's in the front seat. My brother, we have to wake up my other two brothers at like 4:30 in the morning. Me and my dad and my little brothers are trying to push our car out of the driveway, but it's like caked in. There's like crusty snow. We finally get it out, and then we squeeze the van out because like once it gets to the road, then it's kind of uphill, so we can't get the car all the way across the road. But we sneak the van out. We make it. Get to the airport. As soon as we get to the airport, some water line breaks and like it's flooding in the airport. And all the flights are canceled, and it's just the worst day ever. And then the next 2 days, all the flights are canceled. Finally, I made it out, and it was It was my first polar vortex, I guess.
Yeah. It was many people's first polar vortex.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw videos of people in Chicago like doing the boiling water that instantly freezes.
Yeah.
We're lucky to be alive, really.
So true, dude. Jason and I met up in LA. We hung out with some friends there.
Big LA circle of friends.
Oh, we got a big LA circle of friends. Like, so we always got stuff going on down there.
The Jefferson boys and the whole McBride house.
Sure.
We don't know anyone really.
No,
we
we
know
don't
like
really
three people.
have an LA circle. No, but that was a good time. We cracked a lot of jokes.
We made plenty of jokes.
Made a lot of jokes. Made some pretty girls laugh.
What do you mean?
I guess pretty subjective term.
Wow.
But
then we left.
We
hung out with the bossy girls.
Yeah.
Good friends from back in the day.
From back in the devil day. And then our flight to Colombia was super cheap. I paid $180. JetBlue, and it was a fine experience.
Right. I might leave a review eventually if you
Yeah.
send me enough emails.
Sure, keep sending them.
I'll eventually crack.
I unsubscribed from that. I was tired of hearing about them wanting to hear about my experience.
Right. What movie did we watch?
Well, you didn't watch it. We watched the Dallas Buyers Club.
I kept falling asleep.
Yeah, I wanted to watch some other movie, and you wouldn't let me.
Yeah, because it's got good Oscar hype, bro.
And then you fell asleep. And Matt McConaughey does a wonderful job in that movie, really.
Matty boy.
Then we get to Colombia, and the first things first here, Uber is illegal in Colombia, which is interesting, right? And so we're so used to Southeast Asia, you can get an Uber anywhere.
Because they'll destroy the taxi market.
Yeah, right? And so that's why it's illegal. Right. But, in Vietnam, it was so easy and so cheap. But here, it's kind of like a little sketchy. And so, when we got to the airport, we didn't really want to get a cab because, we feel safer in an Uber,
Right, because we know where this guy's going to take us.
Sure. It feels safer as a foreigner. But when you call an Uber, they can't pull up directly to the departure gate. You have to go to the parking lot, and that's where you meet up with.
It's like a drug deal.
Yeah, it's really weird. And so and also you have to sit in the front seat of the Uber car. So it's
so you look like you're his friend.
Yeah, so it's not as obvious that you're just a Uber passenger. So that's interesting. We got a ride. It was the international airport's 30 or 40 minutes outside of the city. It's kind of like Hanoi's airport.
KL too.
Really, I didn't know that. But we're in the car. I find out the guy speaks German. I speak a little German.
Speaks English too.
Speaks English too and Spanish.
He speaks everything.
Yeah, wild. But that leads me to a point. I have spoken German more time in the past 3 weeks than I have the year before that. Right. We keep finding Germans, bro.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know. A lot of Germans here, or German-speaking people at least. Some Swiss people for sure.
I think they come for the beer.
You think so? No. But when we're on our way to Colombia, here's a joke, right? When I told my dad that I was going to Colombia. First of all, it's funny. When we first said we were going to Vietnam, he's like, no, don't go to Vietnam. It's not safe, right? But then we go to Vietnam and he gets a different idea of what Vietnam is, and obviously he perceives it as much more safer now than he did before. And then now we're like, Dad, we're going to Colombia. He's like, no, go back to Vietnam, which is just kind of a funny parallel. But we've had so many people warn us and tell us to be careful in Colombia. Because of crime and other things, and even local Colombians tell us to be very careful.
Yeah.
So we've been so far on the careful side, and
heightened sense. Anytime I'm walking and the sun is down, and I see one person like, this guy's he's got a shovel or something, he's gonna just beat the piss out of me. But
it hasn't happened yet.
We haven't seen even anything.
Yeah, the first couple nights, I was not going out after dark.
Right.
I wouldn't, and then we're still super careful, and we're not getting drunk, running around being idiots. We ran into a couple clearly foreigner idiots that were just trying to get really drunk and hook up with Colombian girls every night.
Yeah, it was scary to talk to.
It was.
But it was oh, so these are the people who get.
Yeah. The guy was in country for 2 days. Already had his phone stolen because he was pissing in an alley, and some girl stole his phone. I don't know, right? So that's obviously it's a thing here, but we've been so far on the careful side,
right?
That we have never ever felt endangered.
Our house.
Oh, our house.
It's the bare necessities, really.
It's 2 rooms. I mean, we don't like have anywhere else besides Jason's bed to film this.
Right, which kind of sucks. We were gonna do it out in the park. There's a nice park nearby, but it's been rainy.
Big thunderstorms.
Big thunderstorms.
Big thunderstorms. We're gonna be moving to a new place with Walker
With
here
our boy
soon.
Walkie.
Yeah, and also that girl I visited in Omaha is gonna swing through Colombia for a bit, and she's gonna stay with us for a bit as well.
Maybe she should be in the next trek.
Maybe I should be in the next trek, and who knows?
She plays her cards right.
She plays her cards right.
Yeah, this is our place. Food's been pretty good. We haven't been eating at too many places.
But I was gonna say, empanadas have been very good.
Them's are good.
With some sauce, whatever.
Yeah, don't eat those dry. Man.
Yeah, there's some good sauce with empanadas here. And also, I really liked the fried plantain chip with the guacamole.
That, and we had some. It was like a a banana split, right?
Yeah,
but it's a plantain with like
sweet gravy,
not ice cream and stuff. It's like a savory banana split.
It was so weird.
It was good though.
It was, my palate wasn't quite.
It was good. It was good.
Sure.
But we haven't had a ton of food yet. We've been eating a lot of freaking eggs.
A lot of eggs.
We've been cooking a lot.
Yeah.
Leave these 2 chefs up to their own devices.
We're just going to be cooking eggs all the
I just
time.
love playing with recipes and
4 eggs, 5 eggs,
Oh,
3 sausages, 4
playing
sausages.
around, being funny.
Our Spanish is garbage.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing, right? When we're in Vietnam, right, you're clearly white. You're
clearly not
you're
from
clearly
anywhere around here.
Not Vietnamese. And so no one expects you to speak the language. So when you drop a couple Vietnamese phrases and you can kind of understand the menu and stuff, they're very impressed.
Right.
But here it's like...
And when you walk in there, they're like, oh... Okay, and they know
they're already like thinking about how they're going to handle.
We're gonna have to do some like menu pointing and some like numbers and stuff like this. But here, when we walk into a place, it's just like they just start speaking Spanish. And we're like, oh, and we say that one line we know so
Mi
well.
español es malo.
Yeah, which is also misleading because we're like, okay, I'll just speak simple sentences.
Like,
no
hablo,
no hablo
at all, 0.
And then they kind of like, okay, let's see how we can figure this out,
But yeah, everyone expects that we can speak a little bit.
It's because we're so
Spanish.
tan.
It's because we're so tan. Our skin's so
Right, we look like we're from here.
Yeah, so true. Especially Jason with the pale complexion. Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, there's one interesting thing they do here. They love citrusy stuff with their food.
Yeah,
right. So like
limon.
Beer, they do this thing where like. Girls love it.
It's like
where they put like
but
this,
lime.
they put this much lime juice at the bottom of the glass, and then we'll mix that with like a Corona. It's like not just adding a lime in your Corona isn't enough. It's like this much lime juice. It's pretty gross, IMO. But that's interesting.
That's fair.
We live right next to a big road, so it's very loud every morning.
Yeah, it's so loud.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, we don't have a heater or air conditioner because the temperature is ideal.
This is the city of eternal spring, is what they call it. So it's always like 70-ish degrees.
Right. And it's been getting a little bit cooler since we got here.
Sure.
I was like getting hot a little bit, but now I'm fine. I have my windows open. I go to sleep with a sheet. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't.
Sure.
Sleeper's choice.
Sleeper's choice.
But we haven't got out much, but we did go to Comuna 13.
Oh, we did go to Comuna 13.
Gravity tour.
Sure.
Graffiti tour, which was kind of cool. Evan will tell you about it.
Sure. I'm a talker. I like to do this stuff. Comuna 13 was one of the very poorest districts and still is. Most dangerous. In 2003, it was ranked as like the most dangerous neighborhood in the world. Yeah. And that's because you had the Farsi, you had gangs, the cartels, and you had the paramilitary. And they're in this area, fighting over this area because it is overlooking the highway that takes it to the sea. In other words, it's where drugs can go out and guns can come in, and like if you can control that, you have
it's the trade route.
Yeah, you have good control of the trade route. So you have all these people living here. It was just a war zone for many years, and many people died. There was some very questionable moves by the government where they just like assaulted the neighborhood, like innocent people died. It was like just some intense stuff. But the most interesting part about it is like they talk about the reformation of it, the reclamation. I don't even know what the word is.
The re-evolution.
I don't think that's
the re-education.
No, I think it's the Reformation, but I could be wrong. But
the transformation. That's the word he used a lot.
All right. The government invested money into the neighborhood, and like they built these escalators that are like, it's the kind of bizarre to be in this poor neighborhood. And there's these outdoor escalators, and there's these like these escalator employees that stand there watch over them because the law is no running on the escalators, like some other stuff.
It's bizarre.
But it took like what was, because it's a very uphill trek, and it took what was like a 40-minute uphill trek to go in through this neighborhood, and turned it into a 10-minute escalator ride.
Yeah,
or something
and
like that.
it's bizarre because one, I've pretty much never seen outdoor escalators.
Very weird. Yeah.
Unless I'm like in an amusement park or something. So that's weird, but it's also in a low income neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are they building escalators?
Sure.
Why don't we just give these people money? But it's awesome for them.
It's it's questionable in that, like, how many people does it actually serve in the neighborhood, like for their transit, but it's without a doubt helped the tourism, and there's a bunch of art
kind of
and graffiti everywhere. Yeah, sure. So the government invested in that area, and it's come a long ways, and I think that's in general in what we've seen in Colombia. Not to say that it's not still not a dangerous place. We can't really speak to that.
Right.
We've met a lot of Colombians. We've met some Colombians who are very proud of where the city is today.
Yeah.
And they have no hesitation in being proud of their city and where it stands today, and looking back on what it was as, and referring to like the cab driver was like, that was hell, man. Like it was.
But he's saying it's a heaven now.
He said it's literally heaven now, and said it was hell then.
Yeah, and he's been like, he was in
Panama,
and he's lived in the U.S. for years, and he came back and he was like, he loves this city. It's heaven now.
Sure. Which is another thing we have to talk about.
Which, if right now we're having to choose if it's heaven or hell, it's pretty easily heaven.
It's pretty bad. I mean, if we had to pick one. It is a super cool city because it's like a city in a bowl of mountains. Jason likes to think that this would be another place that the Truman Show could happen.
Right, like the Truman Show, the bowl. Like, sometimes I look and the mountains it's just so beautiful. It looks like it's just a painting. Like, we're just surrounded by a big painting, and there's cameras. Somebody watching us?
The Truman Show.
Yeah, at night, all the neighborhoods that are in the mountains are all lit up. So you look out, and it looks like almost like a starry sky that's like way up close because you have all these lights.
Yeah,
twinkling.
sure.
I think it's beautiful.
Sure.
And I don't really throw the B word around too much.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
If you remember from Vietnam, the average monthly salary of the citizens of Vietnam was like $170 a month. Here, the average monthly salary, I looked it up the other day, is like $350. So still obviously very low, but in a better position than Vietnam. One thing this will be the last thing. We're talking about a lot of stuff here, so sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're not interested in just random facts about Colombia, you can cut out.
Yeah, just skip to next week.
Yeah, skip to next. Actually,
Andy's
part
better.
might be coming up. Who knows?
Oh.
But the economic disparity between the social classes here, because like you have, it's interesting because you have black, Africans that have, what do they call them? Afro-Colombians? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, something like that.
Who were brought over here as slaves. You have people that are of Spanish descent, and you have people who are of Native American descent. Indigenous.
Beast.
And the indigenous peoples are also oppressed here. Even still today, they feel, and I can't speak to this like so very accurately, and so bear with me, but they struggle from like speaking different languages, and they're often the more poor people, and the homeless people you see around tend to be from indigenous descent. And I can't say much more than that, or say any statistics about it, but it's interesting to see that diversity and segregation, maybe not segregation, racism of sorts. I really don't know how to say it, but in the U.S., we feel like we have this diversity and the tension between the classes, and it's not to say that is the same here, but to see that they have like their classes are impacted by race also.
Yeah, it's more like home than other countries we've been in that regard.
Sure, because like in Vietnam, everyone's Vietnamese.
There was some of that in Malaysia. You weren't in Malaysia much. There was some of that too, but yeah, Vietnam didn't quite have it in this way. There's a new cafe that just opened that we found, It's really cool. It's like this old lady's house in like the 50s, which would have been kind of like a mansion at that point.
Yeah, definitely. She was rich.
House, and
she was rich.
She passed away like I think 10 years
That's
ago.
What they said, yeah.
And they just opened it, and they barely touched it. They kind of redecorated it a little bit, but it's this really cool like bar, cafe, restaurant with all these different floors, and it's all old school decorations.
It's
really
pretty
nice.
Cool, yeah. And
all the waitresses wear like suspenders and like the Rosie the Riveter like headband. It's kind of cool vibes in there, or whatever. Not that I'm like the vibes guy. I don't know much about that, but it's pretty nice. Some cute waitresses. Well, yeah, that's our show. Tune in next month for a new show. Next month you'll see the newest version of the Trek-In.
The newest version, and there'll be more people in it instead of just Jason and I.
Yeah.
So.
Walker couldn't make it. Sorry, Walkie.
Gotta cut the fat though.
And that's a wrap.
See you in Andy's video. Just kidding, he's gonna see you.
Oh yeah, we forgot to introduce Andrews.
I just did.
YouTube, how we doing? Sorry about the phone camera quality. This is a trekyeah thing. So I've been living on a boat. I'm in a boat right now. I've been living on a boat for the last month. So that's weird. I'm also eating the TripAdvisor rated second best pizza in America. So that's a little weird as well. Yeah, the boat's pretty dirty, so I'm not gonna like show you a whole lot of the inside, but it's a sailboat. I've never sailed. Never sailed in my life. Maybe never will. Who knows? But this is kind of what I'm dealing with here. It's a really pretty area. I'm in Florida. St. Augustine. It's the oldest city in America. That's a true fact. A true fact. Yeah, it's really pretty. The sunsets here are insane. Damn, I guess I've been like working a lot this month or whatever. Met a bunch of old like salty sailor types. You know, had some good chats with them. I mostly been working a bunch, hanging out in town at cafes and whatnot. But I'm leaving tomorrow. So that's something. I'm going back to Iowa for a bit. The boys are in Colombia, as you know, because I'm sure Jason didn't lead with my clip. Oh, not to mention I'm doing up and down. Jason, the up and down style video. Jason's gonna be super annoyed about that. But hey, it's I can't fix it. There's zero possible way I could fix this. I can't reshoot it. This is my only option. But I'll probably meet up with them in Colombia or Peru or wherever they're gonna end up being. Yeah. It's been weird sleeping on a sailboat. You think it might be kind of hard to sleep. And actually last night it was fucking windy. So windy. So it was actually a little hard to sleep last night, but most of the time it just kind of rocks you to sleep like a little baby. And also, I don't really have a problem sleeping. Not like Evan, though. I'm not narcoleptic, but I sleep just fine. Fuck, man. I suppose I should, maybe rehearse this in my head a little bit. That's it. That's all that's happened. I've been living in a boat, alright, guys? I've been living in a boat. I do know pelicans are absolutely disgusting. I hate pelicans now. They're gross animals. They're ocean rats, river, water pests. They're just gross and nasty and make all sorts of noises. I think I'm done here. I'm gonna finish eating my pizza. This pizza is insanely good, but I will say, 4 Ps, which we're big advocates of 4 Ps here. A little bit better, which is weird because if my scale means anything, that means Vietnam's best pizza is better than America's second best pizza. Never thought I'd say it. Certainly didn't think it'd be Vietnam, but I've never been to Italy. So, yeah, big news coming out here. So I'm gonna finish eating this. It's so much bread that it's probably gonna pass me out. Pass me outside? How about that? I'll see ya. Fuck.